Hello everyone, today our topic about the respiratory system. And respiratory system we discussed already the last topic about the nasal cavity, okay? And now with the second part which take also in respiratory system is very important and very lengthy little bit, okay? Is larynx, okay? Larynx is take part in respiratory system, okay? This is the larynx diagram, okay, in different types. This is a larynx and then the internal section of larynx, and this is the phonation, the vocal system, vocal cord system, okay? Now first we are going to talk about today topic about the larynx, okay? First we are going to talk about the orientation of larynx. Second, we will go and talk about the orientation of larynx. Second, we will going to talk about the cartilages, which are very important in the larynx, cartilages. Then we will go on articulating system, articular system in larynx, okay? And also we will going to talk about the layers of larynx. And layers, here we also have muscles of larynx, okay? This section we will going to discuss in today's topics, okay? First we will going to start from the orientation of the larynx, okay? Our topic is larynx, and first we are gonna talk about the orientation of larynx, okay? First, orientation. If you will talk about the orientation, we need to know the anterior and posterior view of the larynx. This is the anterior view, and the back we know with the posterior view of the posterior view, where front side of the esophagus, and this is the anterior view, which front side, okay? This is the front side anterior view. Now is location. If you talk about the location of larynx, is location here we have what? Here we have hide bone, okay? Hide bone. And here we have trachea. This is the trachea. This is trachea. It means between the hide and trachea is location of the larynx. Okay. Now, if we will talk about the holotopy, because our topics of larynx and respiratory system in Splancology. Okay, and in Splancology, first we need to know about the holotopy and Skeletopy. If we talk about the holotopy, it's neck region, okay? Its location in neck region, okay? If you talk about the Skeletopy, it means is superior level from C4 to C5 cervical vertebra, and inferior level from C6 to C7 cervical vertebra. This is the holotopy and Skeletopy of the larynx, okay? Now, second, which I told you about the also we will going to talk about more detail in orientation. If you talk about the orientation according to Sapien, okay, then we have larynx division into vestibular, intraventicular system, and subvocal cavity. This is according to the Sapien, okay? Vestibular, intraventicular system, and subvocal cavity. Now I will show where is the vestibular, where is the intraventicular system, and subvocal cavity. This is the epiglottis, and here from inside, if you say this is a vestibular, okay, here we have vestibular folds and vocal fold, okay? But this is a vestibule fold, this is a vestibular, here we have venticular system, and this is the subvocal cavity, okay? This is the according to the Sapien. Now we will going to talk about the cartilages of the larynx. Cartilage of larynx. Cartilage of larynx we divided into two parts. paired and unpaired. Okay, first we will write here unpaired cartilage of larynx and paired cartilage of larynx. Paired cartilage of larynx. Okay, now first unpaired. What unpaired we have? First we have here this one, the black one. This is the epiglottis cartilage. Second this is a thyroid cartilage. Third, this one we have cricoid cartilage. Okay, this is the three unpaired cartilage. Okay, this is only one cartilage which are located in the larynx. Okay, this is the epiglottis. From interior, this is epiglottis. Here is the thyroid cartilage, and this is the cricoid cartilage. This is unpaired cartilage of the larynx. And other we have 6. We have means 3 unpaired cartilages, which we calculate 3, 3, 6. Okay, first we have from the posterior. This is anterior. If you will see from the posterior view, there we have will show like first Arytenoid is shaped like triangular. Okay, then at the top of Arytenoid cartilage we have Corniculate cartilage, and here we have Cuneiform cartilage. This from the posterior view. If you will show the structure of the larynx, from posterior view, you can see easily these 3 cartilages which we have paired. First we have Arytenoid cartilage. First. Second we have Corniculate cartilage, and third this one we have Cuneiform cartilage. Here I will write Cuneiform cartilage. These are the 3 cartilages. Okay, paired, unpaired we have epiglottis cartilage, thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage, and paired we have Arytenoid cartilage, Corniculate cartilage, and here we have Cuneiform 2 cartilage. This is two cartilages here. Okay, here also I will write this is triangle and this is triangle. From the inside view, from posterior view, you can easily see these 3 paired cartilages in larynx. Okay, now these are cartilages which I told about. Now we will going in detail in the unpaired cartilages. Okay, the structure of the cartilages of each cartilage. If you talk epiglottis have not like very important structure. Okay, there is only have epiglottis folds. Okay, interepiglottic folds from the interior view. Okay, first we will going to talk about the thyroid cartilage. If you talk about the structure of a thyroid cartilage, you know this is thyroid cartilage. Thyroid cartilage is here. We have this here. This is called laryngeal prominence R from the here. This is a laryngeal prominence, and the second, if we also in anatomy we also say laryngeal prominence is Adam's apples. Okay, Adam's apple in anatomical. Okay, also this word also using for Adam's apple for laryngeal prominence. And this laryngeal prominence divided thyroid cartilage into 2 plates or 2 lamina. Right lamina and left lamina. Our left plate or right plate. Okay, of thyroid cartilage. Okay, then we have say cricoid cartilage. And cricoid cartilage, if you will see from the front side, is like apex. Here we have like shape like structure like apex. If you can see from the back side, there we have see like plate. Okay, from the front side is arches, from the back side we have plate. If you from the back side of the cricoid cartilage, from the back side like this. Here I told we have from the back side, here we have which right triangular shape, which paired cartilage we have Arytenoid cartilage. At the top we have Corniculate cartilage, and here we have Cuneiform cartilage from the both sides. Okay, here we have two surface. First surface of Cornicoid cartilage with Arytenoid. Then we can say this is a Arytenoid articular surface. Okay, and here surface with the thyroid articular surface, because it's attaching with two cartilages. Okay, two cartilage here from attached with here easily you can see from the front side anterior view is attached with the which cartilage, thyroid cartilage, which is unpaired, and here we attach with the Arytenoid cartilage. It means here two surfaces. Okay, articulating surfaces. Here Arytenoid first, this is the cartilage. It means cricoarytenoid articulating surface, and here cricothyroid articulating surface. In which cartilage is cricoid cartilage. This is the structure, only the structure of this cartilage for your memorization. Okay, it's just you need to remember the cartilage names. Okay, paired and unpaired. Next, if you talk about the other cartilages, paired cartilages, which I told I will show, like paired. In paired we have 3 also, and plus 3 is 6 total. Okay, first we talk about Arytenoid cartilage. Arytenoid cartilage also 2 cartilages. Here 2 cartilages. Okay, Arytenoid cartilages I already told is triangular shape. Okay, here we have apex and base. Base we have 2 process, one anterior side and this is posterior process. Okay, posterior process. Anterior process called vocal process, and posterior is called muscular process. Why muscular? And because here that side, posterior side, we have muscles, and anterior is for the vocal cord. Okay, that's why it's called. And base also here attaching with the down with cricoid cartilage. Okay, this is the structure of the Arytenoid cartilage. And the Corniculate cartilage, which I already told, is located in the top of Arytenoid cartilage. Okay, and here also we have Cuneiform cartilage. This is the structure, little bit detail about the structures of each cartilages. Okay, next, the third section which we're going to talk about the articular system of the larynx. Articular system of larynx. Okay, articular system of larynx. We have 2 types of articular system of larynx. First we have continuous and discontinuous. Because this is articular system is very important for the ligaments and joints in larynx. Okay, that's why continuous we have 2 types, fibrous and cartilaginous. Okay, and discontinuous we have synovial. First we are going to talk about the continuous articulating system of larynx. If you talk the cartilaginous, there we have 2 cartilaginous. We have like Arytenoid and thyroid cartilage. Okay, thyroid, from the posterior you can see there we have thyroid and Arytenoid. Okay, there you can see this in cartilaginous, and also you can say in the rib system, if you saw, there we have 2 bony part. One here in ribs we have bony part and cartilaginous part, and between this bony and cartilaginous part we have sinochondrosis. This is also the type of cartilaginous. Okay, and fibrous, if you talk about the fibrous we have many. Okay, first we have thyroid membrane. First, from the interior, if you thyroid membrane means thyroid, from the thyroid cartilage to the, here we have because the larynx is location is between the hide and trachea. Okay, and here is the location of each bone is hide bone. It means thyroid membrane is the membrane from the anterior view from the thyroid, from here, from thyroid to hide bone. Okay, this is the, here we have membrane, thyroid membrane, and thyroid membrane also we have two membrane from the left. Here we have median and lateral. We have two, median thyroid membrane and lateral thyroid membrane. This is the first membrane which are location in the fibrous. This is the fibrous and cartilaginous, which I told is we have two articulating system in continuous articulating system and discontinuous articulating system in layers. Now we first talking about the continuous. In continuous we have two types of continuous articulation in larynx. First is fibrous and cartilaginous. In cartilaginous I am give you example. We have thyroid and Arytenoid cartilage. Okay, and then in the fibrous we have the first thyroid membrane, which are located from the anterior. If you can see location between the thyroid and hide bone. Okay, and it's two types. One is median and one is lateral. Okay, now second, first I will write here because we are talking about the fibers. Okay, fibers we already talk about the thyroid membrane. We already talked about lateral and median. Okay, lateral and median, and I show this one. Okay, then second we have cricothyroid membrane. What is the meaning of cricothyroid membrane? It means the membrane between the cricoid and thyroid cartilage. From here means this is crico and thyroid. Here between here, okay, between cricoid and thyroid membrane, thyroid cartilage, there is a membrane from the interior view. It's called cricothyroid membrane. And cricothyroid membrane, there's two other ligaments. One is here, and one is here. Means we have cricothyroid lateral ligament, and cricothyroid median ligament. Okay, then these two we discuss. Okay, now third one we have ligaments. Third we have thyroepiglottis ligaments, and it's mean where there's ligament. Now it's ligament, thyroepiglottis ligaments. Okay, because in fibrous we have ligaments and membrane. If you remember when we discussed in arthrology, we told ligaments you like the fibrous joints you can find in the like we have synovial you can find the example like ligaments and membranes. We are the between two in the leg region the two bones connection like fibula and tibia, and leg in forearm they are radius and ulna. There have membranes, intersosseous membrane. This is also the example. That's why we are talking about here larynx. This is the articulating system we discussing. That's why we are talking about the membranes and ligaments. Okay, and thyroepiglottis ligaments means from this is the ligaments which are located from the thyroid to the epiglottis from the posterior. If you can see this very easily, you see from the thyroid, between thyroid and epiglottis, there we have ligaments. It's called thyroepiglottis ligaments. Fourth we have cricotracheal ligament. Criciotracheal means ligaments mean between the hair. This is a cricotracheal ligament. This is a trachea and this is a cricoid cartilage. It means here we have ligaments. It means cricotracheal ligaments mean between the cricoid cartilage and trachea. There is a ligament. It's called cricotracheal ligaments. And the fifth one we have epiglottis ligaments between between the hider and the epiglottis. There are ligaments. It means it's called epiglottis ligaments. These are the fibrous fibrous articulate system of the larynx. Okay, cartilages I told we have thyroid and cartilage, cricoid cartilage I told. Then we have fibrous, we have 5 types. First we have thyroid membrane, we have lateral and median, then we have cricothyroid membrane, then we have thyroepiglottis ligaments, cricotracheal ligaments, and hyoepiglottis ligament. It's very simple. From the names you can memorize from here the attachment of these ligaments and membranes ligament. Okay, this is for memorization. For the articulating system, this is arthrology here we discuss. Okay, because larynx is very important to memorize the ligaments and membranes of the larynx. Okay, now we're going to talk about the discontinuous articulating system of the larynx. Discontinuous we have very simple. We have cricothyroid articulating system and cricoarytenoid articulating system. Why I write this is a cricothyroid articulating system and cricoarytenoid system? If you remember the cartilage, I told the unpaired and paired cartilage. You know, here this is the, for example, this is a cricoid cartilage here. From the posterior is attached with the arytenoid cartilage here, which I told cricoarytenoids. Cricoarytenoids articulating surface, which I told in the structure of the structure of the cricoid cartilage. Okay, and here we have attached with the thyroid cartilage. It means this is the here attached with arytenoid cartilage, here attached with thyroid cartilage. It means we have two articulating system in the cricoid. And this is synovial, where we have synovial fluid we can find. It's called synovial. This is synovial joints. Okay, cricothyroid articulating system and cricoarytenoid articulating system. Okay, these are the articulating systems which can you find in the larynx. Okay, next we have layers. Before the layers, I want to tell you something about the internal view of the larynx. This one. Okay, if you talk about the larynx division, I already told we according to Sipin we divided the larynx into vestibule. Then I told we have interventicular system. Okay, and then we have subvocal cavity. First we will talk about the vestibule. This is a vestibular. Okay, and vestibular we have 2 types of fold in larynx. Okay, we have 2 types of folds in larynx. We have vestibular fold, and then we have vocal folds. 2 types of fold which I told, vestibular fold and vocal fold. Here you can see this is the vestibular fold, and here is a vocal fold, and between them we have intraventicular system. This is the ventricles. Okay, and here we have laryngeal ligaments. This is the folds of larynx. Okay, now there we have 2 rima. Okay, rima in larynx. In larynx you can find like rima means there are spaces. Okay, there is spaces. Okay, spaces. Rima, 2 types of rima vestibule and rima vestibule. You can find the space. This is the space here. Okay, this space you can find between the space between vestibular fold. Okay, this space. And Rima Glottis, you can find the space between the 2 vocal folds, means right and left vocal folds. Understand? We have 2 rima. Rima means space, and this is a 2 space between. We are located into the in larynx. First we have rima vestibular, which are space between the vestibular fold, and rima glottis is the space between the right and left vocal folds. Okay. If you talk about the function of the larynx is very, because this is respiratory system, and if the larynx function, it means this passing for the air passes here, okay, means air passageway, okay. Then also when the air passes, okay, also important role is production of voice. Larynx is very important function is production of voice, which we can say this is phonation, like this is a phonation system, okay, vocal cord. This is the epiglottis, here this is the epiglottis, here you have epiglotic fold, okay, interepiglottic folds, epiglottic fold. This is, okay, this is important article, this is the vocal ligaments, and this is the muscles. This is the muscle, okay, these are the muscles. These are the muscle. If you will talk about this is the Rima Glottis. This is a Rima Glottis here, okay, this is a Rima Glottis. This is whole is Rima Glottis. This is a muscle, and this is during the voice, this is closed, okay, this vocal ligaments are closing, okay, and during respiration this is open, okay. This is very important in muscle. I will talk later, okay. First we need to know about the because this is epiglottis is anterior side, and this is in posterior side we have interepiglottic fold, okay. If you talk division of this Rima glottis, interior view, interiorly is divided 3-5 into intermembranous, okay, and 2-5 posteriorly intercartilaginous. Means from the front, from anterior view is membranous form, because I told when we talk about articulating system, now you understand here when I told here we have membranes, okay. If you remember the cricothyroid membrane, okay, and lateral and median, okay. This is the membrane from the interior, that's why it's called here 3-5 covering. From the interior is 3-5 area is covering by intramembranous, and 2-5 is covered posteriorly by intercartilaginous, okay. And this is the phonation system, where we have phonation, okay, and this is the Rima Glottis area. Now about the Rima Glottis, this is the here, this is the Rima vestibule, and here we have Rima Glottis or glottis, okay. Now we understand phonation system I told, because this is a muscle. Now if you talk about the muscle of larynx, now the muscle of larynx, we have two types of muscle. We have tensor muscle. In tensor muscle there's two muscles, some muscle decrease and some muscle increases, okay. And then we have dilated tensor muscle, we have two muscles. First we have cricothyroid muscle. It means the muscle between the cricoid. Here we have muscle, it's named cricothyroid. It's mean between the cricoid cartilage and thyroid cartilage. That's why it's called cricothyroid muscle. And second muscle we have vocal muscles. Vocal muscle, which help in the phonation here. This is the muscles, okay, in phonation, which help in the voice production, okay, where the voice produce, okay. And during voice production the phonation is closed, the vocal ligament going to close, okay. And there's also like some in detail, if you more detail in phonation, like the voice sound system, then because in males the vocal cords are large and female is small, okay. I think in males is 20 to 24 millimeter and female 16 millimeter is the vocal cord length, okay. Now the other dilator muscles, this is tensor muscle of the larynx. Now here dilator muscles of dilator muscle of larynx. Dilator muscle, we have 5 dilator muscles. First we have posterior cricoarytenoid muscle. It means the muscle from the posterior between the cricoid and Arytenoid cartilage. Okay, then we have lateral, and this muscle you can see from the inside view. Okay, posterior is one. Cricoarytenoid muscle. Okay, then we have transverse Arytenoid. Also we have muscle in Arytenoid. Then we have oblique Arytenoid muscle, and the last one we have Epiglottis muscle. These are the 5 muscles, the dilator muscle of the larynx. Okay, 2 tensor muscle and 5 we have dilator muscle of the larynx. Okay, now we will talk about the layers of the larynx. If we talk about the layers of larynx, we have 3 layers. Okay, layers. First we have tunica mucosa. Tunica mucosa. Okay, tunica mucosa. If you talk about the tunica mucosa, then we need to view from the internal view. Here, this is a. If you talk about this is a tunica mucosa from the internal view. Okay, here if you remember, we have vestibular fold and vocal folds. Okay, in vestibular fold we have vestibular fold are lining by respiratory epithelium and vocal folds lining by which stratified epithelium. This is about the histology. Okay, histology information. Tunica mucosa, we have 2 folds which we know in larynx: vestibular fold and vocal fold. Vestibular fold covered by respiratory epithelium and vocal fold lining by stratified epithelium. And there we have laryngeal folds, and this fold produce mucus and further lubrication. Okay. Next we have tela. Second layer we have tela submucosa. And third we have adventitia. And about the muscle layers, we are about the muscle and cartilages. I already told about the articular system of larynx, and muscle I told. Okay, this is the information about the larynx. Okay, now the short summary about the larynx. Okay, larynx. First, if we know this is the respiratory system, and the first section, respiratory system, start from the nasal cavity. The second part we have larynx, and larynx is location between the height and trachea. Okay, if you will talk about the holotopy, is location in the neck region. If you will talk about the skeletotopy, is superior level from C4 to C5 cervical vertebra, and inferior level from C6 to C7 cervical vertebra. This is the holotopy and skeletotopy. Now orientation from the anterior and posterior view. Okay, if you talk interior and posterior view, then we have division the larynx into 3. Okay, 3 parts. First we have vestibular, then we have intraventricular system, and we have subvocal cavity. Okay, then we have 2 ramia. We have ramia vestibula and ramia glottis, and this is the 2 spaces. Rima vestibula is the space between the vestibular fold, and Rima glottis is the space between the right and left vocal folds. Okay, and this is the Rima epiglottis you can find where we can use for this is a function also, because if you talk about the function of larynx is like passes for air. Okay, which we take during respiration again. Okay, and the second function is the production of voice. Okay, phonation system. Okay, then we talk about the articulating system of the cartilages of the larynx. We have paired and unpaired cartilages of the larynx. We have unpaired. First we have epiglottis, then we have epiglottis. Okay, then we have thyroid cartilage, and then we have cricoid cartilage. This is the unpaired cartilage of the larynx. Then we have 3 unpaired cartilage, which I told from posterior you can see. First we have Arytenoid. If you talk about the Arytenoid cartilage, you need to know this is a triangular shape. Then we have at the top of Arytenoid we have Corniculate cartilage, and here we have Cuneiform cartilage. This is paired cartilages of the larynx. Then we talk about articulating system of the larynx, where we have ligaments and membranes. Okay, we have two types of articular system in larynx, for continuous and discontinuous. Continuous we have fibrous and cartilaginous. And cartilaginous we know because we have here cartilage. We have synocondosis, if you remember, between the rib system, cartilage, rib cage. We have bony and cartilaginous part of rib. There we have synocondosis joints. Okay. Then we have fibrous. Fibrous we have five. There we have membranes. We have cricothyroid membranes. We have lateral and median one. Okay, from front here, this is the median cricothyroid membranes, and this is the lateral cricothyroid membrane. Then we have cricothyroid this is the cricoid membrane, and then we have cricothyroid membranes between the thyroid and cricoid process, because everything is from the names crico and thyroid. Okay, there we have two ligaments, lateral and median cricothyroid ligaments. And from the posterior view, if you will see, there we have thyroepiglottic ligament between the thyroid and epiglottis, and we have hide epiglottic ligaments. There is a ligament between the epiglottis and the hide bone, and also we have here the ligament. This ligament between the cricoid means cricotracheal ligament between the cricoid and tracheal ligament. Okay, because these are wholly are the in the cartilages of the larynx. Okay. Then we discuss about the muscles. We have dilator and tensor muscles. Tensor we have two muscles. First muscle we have cricothyroid muscle, which between the cricoid cartilage, okay, and thyroid cartilage. Then we have tensor we have vocal muscles, okay, and dilator we have five muscle. We have posterior cricoarytenoid muscle, and lateral cricoarytenoid muscle. Then we have lateral and oblique and transverse arytenoid muscle, and epiglottis muscle is the five dilator muscles. Okay, and here we talk about we have three layers. We have tunica mucosa. We have two types of fold which we know in the larynx: vestibular fold and vocal fold. Vestibular fold covered by respiratory epithelium, and vocal fold are covered by stratified epithelium. This is a histological information. Okay, again, anterior submucosa and invitation, these are the layers of the larynx. This is everything about the larynx. Okay, thank you for watching.